Good afternoon, cycling friends. James with Team Finish Strong here. I'm out at the Cowpens National Battlefield again today. It's a beautiful late summer afternoon. It's a perfect time for a ride and to reflect on some things. We got a lot of beautiful wildlife out here today. Check out these gorgeous turkeys here. Say something. Gobble, gobble. They're always the star of the show at the battlefield. Them and the deer that just pranced across the road just a few moments ago. It's an amazing place. A place that you can really recharge, that's for sure. If you're wondering what today's topic is about, it is about ships, so to speak. The ship I'm thinking of is one of the most famous ones, or perhaps infamous ones, the Titanic. And the reason for my reflection today about the Titanic is because in its day, it was one of the most magnificent ships built. Luxurious from top to bottom. They spared no expense. And with good reason, because the clientele that they served were among the wealthiest in the world. In fact, some of the wealthiest people in the world were traveling on the Titanic that day on its maiden voyage. If you don't believe me, just take a look at the passenger list of the Titanic and you'll see what I'm talking about. These folks were really the who's who back in the day. For these folks, this was meant to be a time to rest and recharge aboard one of the most luxurious means of travel available to them at the time. What they didn't expect, however, was that this would be their final voyage, and the final voyage for the Titanic. Now, of course, you all know the story of what happened, and those famous words that someone uttered that could be the epitaph, if you will, for the Titanic, that even God couldn't sink this ship. And regrettably, it being made of steel could sink, and did. And it's in these moments where life's trials reveal where we put our trust in. Some of them, I'm sure, put their trust in the ship and the captain, and it's reasonable to do that. Some may have put their trust in the fact that it had revolutionary technology to ensure that it wouldn't sink. And of course, some, I'm sure, put their trust in Jesus no matter what. And I want to speak to that today, about where do we put our trust. I read an article recently that said we have more billionaires now than we've ever had in the history of the world. And that something like 50% of the entire wealth of the world is concentrated in the hands of just 1% of the people. With so much resources in the hands of so few, the temptation certainly can be to think that you can do anything, that you can make any plans you want, do anything you want, and that everything you desire will come to pass. It's a very compelling illusion, but it's just that, an illusion, because Jesus told in a parable about a man who had so much wealth that his barns were overflowing with the fruit of his labors. So much so that he contemplated what to do. And his answer? Build more barns. Seems logical, doesn't it? But this man, who had stored up so much treasure for himself, ended up finding out that his life was going to be called into account that night. And it was all for naught. Jesus also said that where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And that's the danger of putting your trust in wealth. It also says that wealth is uncertain. It's fleeting. It can be here today and gone tomorrow. Or our life could suddenly take a turn and it's all given to someone else. Wealth makes a very poor substitute for a savior. We simply can't put our trust in it for the important things in life. And the hard reality is that all the wealth in the world can't buy someone a single additional hour. Now, I'm not disparaging wealth or even having abundant resources, because certainly there are many examples in the Bible of those that had great wealth who were believers. Solomon, King David, Lydia in the New Testament was a dealer of purple cloth, a symbol of wealth. But the point I'm trying to make is, don't let it put your trust in it. Don't let wealth cause you to misplace your trust, because there's only one place we should put our trust in, and that's God. And for those of you who have put your trust in something other than God today, my advice to you is, it's time to get off this sinking ship. Finish strong, and that's your thought for the week.